Okay, good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing? I know, all right, so you're all on mute and that's fine. So I'm Anna Gibbs. I assume everyone knows me by now. I am excited to do this with you today and kick off Ignite. Lori Burns is helping me with the chat and letting people in from the waiting room. So just a couple of quick things before we get started as far as housekeeping goes. If you have a question, I'm going to ask you to use the chat. It seems to be the most effective way to do that. And I will stop periodically and take those questions before we move on to more content. So if you use the chat, Lori's going to monitor that and alert me when we have some questions that I can answer. And we're going to follow along with the PowerPoint. And you should have received an email with the link to download the material. So if you don't have that ready to go, please search your email. It probably would have come from Cassie Hackett, and you want to be able to follow along and take notes with the material. Ignite is one of my favorite courses to offer in the Market Center because it has a lot of great content, and it is really, I believe, the most foundational course. And what I mean by that is that it's going to cover every aspect of building your real estate business. And it's for an agent on every level. So whether you're new to the business or you've been doing this for a long time, I know you're going to find something here that you'll be able to apply to your business. And each session of Ignite sort of stands alone. It is it covers one topic at a time. And today we're going to talk about prospecting, which is essential to your real estate business. If anyone came into real estate thinking they were not going to lead generate, I'm sorry to break this to you, that is definitely a myth. I think your main job as a real estate agent is to prospect, and Gary Keller would tell you the same thing. So servicing your client, working with your buyers and sellers is only something you get to do when you spend enough time prospecting. So this is going to be a part of your business for as long as you're in business. And after this session, you should be able to really understand what prospecting is, and you'll be able to understand the impact it has on your lead generation. After this session, you'll have some different lead generation methods identified, and I hope a plan for you to be able to start prospecting. So those are the goals for today. We're going to run right until 4 o'clock. I will take a break at one point so that you can get up and stretch your legs, get coffee, whatever, and then we will come back and finish up at 4. So again, if you have any questions, please use the chat, and Lori Burns is going to help me with that. So I'm ready. Hopefully you're ready. Let's go. So let's talk about what, again, the focus is. The focus today is to help you grow your business and run your business. So we're going to look at lead generation for both buyers and sellers. We're going to talk about how to attract those sellers and buyers and really create a marketing or prospecting plan for you. The other topics that you see here are going to be covered throughout the Ignite series. Today it is all about lead generation. So let's talk about prospecting and what that means in lead generation. So here, we want to first understand that in order to generate leads, we have to connect with people. So in order for us to connect with people, you will need to get purposeful about ways to really attract attention as a realtor, get into conversations with people. So you're going to really look at that as step one. How will you connect with people? And then we'll also take a dive deep into some prospecting methods today. As I said, we'll create your action plan, we'll recap and create your success list. And then together, we're going to look at some daily habits as well. Okay, this is what we would call the lead generation funnel or the lead generation model. And some of you may have seen this before. So basically, I'm sure you've heard the term sales funnel before. So as a funnel, the top is bigger than the bottom. So right away, I want you to realize that at the top of the funnel, right? This is where all your leads are going to go in. And as you bring those leads in or capture them, we're going to see where some of them become actual leads and others may be contacts, people that are not looking to buy or sell at the moment, but they will be nurtured throughout your marketing campaigns. And as we move people through the funnel, we cultivate, which means that we're continuing to provide value, we're staying in touch, and then sooner or later, some of those become appointments. So let me back up here. Sorry, gang. Let me back up here and let's talk about the leads that are coming in. Where are those leads coming from? They're coming from your prospecting and marketing activities. So when we talk about lead generation, there's two parts. There's prospecting and then there's marketing. So prospecting would be the activities we engage in to meet new people, right? So it could be advertising, it could be social media posts, it could be networking, it could be doing an open house, right? Any way that you're going to find new people, new prospects. And then marketing are the activities we engage in to communicate to the people that we've met, right? So we need to look at our lead generation plan as having activities that are both prospecting and marketing. Prospecting and marketing, right? So that's how we bring leads into our database. Again, if you have questions, feel free to use the chat. Now, so lead generation, whether it's prospecting and or marketing, should never stop. So this is not something you do just to get your business started. This is not something you do to recharge it or get over the hump that you might find yourself in. There will not be as many downsides to the business if you're constantly focused on prospecting and marketing as your daily habit. So you never want to see your leads dry up, right? It's important that as a realtor, we're always thinking 90 days in front of ourselves, right? Because the business you attract today, even if you had someone put an offer in today that was accepted, you may not see that closing for another 60 days. So if we work backwards from that, and if anyone is struggling or frustrated with the amount of money that they're making in their real estate business, I can guarantee it has to do with the number of leads you're generating every day, right? So that is the purpose of this funnel, so that you understand how to get a lot of leads coming in through the top, and then through your conversations and your relationships and how you choose to cultivate is where some of those will come through and actually turn into appointments that then become, a contract, and then eventually you'll close. Okay, so Gary Keller talks about this a lot in the in the Shift book. And these are the 2 M's that should be a part of your lead generation, right? So if you're taking notes, what are the 2 M's? It goes without saying that your lead generation should always be very purposeful and very strategic. And lead generation is your lifeblood. Lead generation is your lifeblood. So if I, hear agents saying they don't like to lead generate, they're in for a little bit of a struggle, right? So the sooner you become comfortable with generating leads and the more excited you get about it, I think the faster you'll be able to accelerate in your career. So lead generation takes 2 components. It incorporates 2 components. One is the message and the other is the method, right? So the 2 M's, message and method. So your message needs to match your market. Your message needs to match your market, the current market specifically, in order for it to produce an immediate response. So your message reflects the market of today, and it should create an immediate response. The method is how you get the message out, right? So the method that you use to carry out that message should probably be, again, very specific to the market. So there are two primary methods of getting your message out to your target group. Remember, it's prospecting and it's marketing, because your target group, that's another thing that is really important in your prospecting plan, is who is your ideal customer. It's not everyone, right? Because of different reasons. So who are the agents, who are the individuals, who are the individuals, the homeowners that you want to attract? Who are the buyers that you want to attract? Who are the people that you want to work with? Now, the method and the message that you use will attract those people to you, okay? So how do you stand out from the other agents that are out there doing the same thing? Any questions so far? So we've got message and method, and we understand that lead generation is part of the prospecting, and the marketing is all part of lead generation. Any other questions right now?
Nothing in the chat at this time, Anna.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm sorry, my mouse is a little sensitive today. So live TV. Okay, so let's talk about, this is where I want to be. So let's talk about some lead generation methods, right, that are prospecting based. These are lead generation methods that are prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Lead generation methods that are prospecting based and marketing enhanced. So when we look at marketing, it's indirect. Would you agree? It attracts leads and it could support and enhance other prospecting conversations, but it's one way, it's indirect. So you're putting a message out there. It's not really a communication or a conversation. Okay, and then based on that message, you're soliciting a response. So prospecting is more proactive. Prospecting is more direct also, because you're going to engage in a conversation. There's more activity around prospecting, and it does keep you in a more active state as well, because I know, we can do a lot of marketing and push messages out there, and because we're sitting back waiting, we're really not engaging in enough activity to generate leads. So prospecting is powerful because those activities and messages really only work or create big impact when you can have that conversation. So that is going to create much more activity for you. Honestly, a good lead generation plan does both. It balances both the marketing and the prospecting, but just it's important to keep in mind where you're putting a lot of time and energy, because if you're putting a lot of time and energy in just the marketing, it may take a long time for that to bear fruit, where prospecting is you're really stirring things up. So what are some prospecting methods? You'll find a lot of these in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. You have them here for you in the Ignite material. And this is really a variety of prospecting methods that you can share your message through. So has anyone, if you could just take a look, and please feel free to come off mute for a second, of the things on this list, what have you tried before with really great results? Anybody?
Phone or face-to-face.
Okay. And what were the results for you, Sherry?
Well, right now I have a buyer, so I'm excited for that.
Good.
So I think just having a positive mindset and really going for it and making those calls that you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you. Anyone else have any feedback or something to add? The class is always more fun when I can hear from others than just my voice. All right, let me ask you a question. What do you think is the best approach to prospecting? Do you think it's best to select several methods or try one and really master it? What do you think is the best opportunity for you?
Try several and then find out what you're good at, and then you master that.
Okay, I like that. So try several to find out what you're good at and master that. Okay, good. Anyone else have a thought on it? So the reason why I believe the best method is to try several things at once, I like what Jean had to say, but it's also because what we know to be true about marketing is that you really have to have a few plates spinning at once. You have to have different things, different messages, and different methods in use at the same time, because we all respond differently and our behavior patterns are very different. So you want to make sure that you're using different methods, different mediums to really connect with people. So it could be social media, it could be in person, it could be, doing open houses, it could be networking, but it's really, I think, important for us to look at having a few things working for us at one time, because that will produce more leads. All right, so let's now talk about prospecting methods. So we know the rules around door knocking, so we're not going to spend any time on that, but there are so many ways that you can prospect for opportunities. You can certainly build a network of Keller Williams agents from across the country. If you are attending, different events regularly, like mega camps, spring masterminds, family reunion, if you're connecting with people through social media, you can build quite a network of KW associates. And if you are strategic about, creating those referral opportunities, that can be another piece of passive income. Another prospecting opportunity is open houses. And I'll just go back, not to mention that, when the agent that you're communicating with and building a relationship with needs something, you're probably going to be the one and only person they call because you've built that personal relationship. Okay, so other prospecting opportunities include social media, open houses, agent-to-agent referrals, and door knocking. So don't discount the power in making a connection with Keller Williams associates from across the world, because that can really bear a lot of fruit. So what I'd love for you to do is write in your notes, if you need to spend time on this, are you putting enough energy in each of these categories? And are there some categories missing that you would include in here? And then create a small mini marketing prospecting plan for each one of those, so that you can, so if one of the ways that you can generate leads is to attend fundraisers, well, how many fundraisers will you go to this year? Who do you want to meet at the fundraisers? Is there a fundraiser over this fundraiser that's going to have the people I really want to get in front of? Just questions to ask yourself. Any questions so far, Lori?
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Please.
Yeah, my question is, it's a good idea what you're bringing up, but how do I reach out to all these agents? Maybe you touched this, I didn't catch that up, but how do you touch all these agents? How do you get in?
Keller Williams?
Yeah.
Well, certainly by attending events. That's the number one way, right? Because you can, make eye contact and have a conversation with them and exchange information, contact information. You can do it through Facebook and other social media platforms. You can friend people who are with Keller Williams. And, then the other way would be to possibly choose an area of the country that you want to get referrals to or from, and you look them up in Kelly and you call people, in that geographic farm. It would become your geographic farm. So you just have to get intentional about getting into a relationship with them.
Oh, so for instance, I'm an agent in New Jersey, and I would like to focus on North Jersey. So I should send out like to all Keller Williams agents in other states and other parts of the country, saying, hey, if you have anyone who's looking to go to North Jersey, please refer him to me.
I mean, you could, but I would say if your need is that specific, where you're looking in a very small concentrated area, then you probably just want to find people in that area, to market to. People who are on the other side of the country. Now, that's a bad idea. I mean, chances, it could happen that they have someone who's looking to buy in your area, but I would think that I would put more energy into my immediate, 50-mile radius or less.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions right now?
Nothing else in the chat.
Okay, very good. All right, so door knocking. Do I need to spend a lot of time on this, Lori Burns? What is the current, what are some of the rules about door knocking right now?
You know what? That's a good question. We don't start phase 2 until tomorrow. So right now you
Yeah.
can't door knock. I do not believe that they're allowing door knocking at this time, but I would have to double check on that with the phase 2 opening.
Okay, so we'll have to get some information to you. I mean, I would think that it wouldn't be permitted because of the contact, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it was in the handouts, but I'd have to double check. I'll take a look while you're chatting.
Right. Okay. So let's go into the next one, which I think is agent referrals, which we just talked about. So obviously, you could be prospecting for opportunities with and through other Keller Williams agents or perhaps other agents from another company. But we do prefer, if we can, to keep it in the family. So that's an opportunity for you. So it's just a matter of recognizing who you want to be in relationship with, and how do you build that rapport and trust so that when it comes to referring one of the clients they're working with, they're able to call you and get that referral. Now, I don't think there's a slide on this. I'll say that not only agent to agent referral, but yet you can also look at vendor to agent referral, right? So are you being purposeful about contacting vendors from any business and asking them to consider you next time they hear someone who's looking to buy or sell? So agent to vendor referrals are also, I think, great. Everybody knows somebody, right? And everybody's got to live somewhere. So that's the opportunity. Okay, so let's talk about how you can do this with Command. So number one, you can build your referral network in Command. You can put it in, as your group in the contacts. So here is someone's group, or they're tagged it as their referral network. And that will give you the opportunity to send and receive referrals, broadcast a referral. You can do some map searches. So if you're looking for a more strategic way to figure it out, Command makes it very simple for you to grow a referral network, and for you also to manage the referrals at the same time. So you can attend some of the tech classes to really learn the ins and outs of this, or you can also watch Marty Miller's YouTube videos. But you can come in here and you can put in that agent's contact information. You'll be able to, when you go to Keller Williams events, you can also just scan their QR code if they have a QR code on their name badge or business card, and that will put it right into Command through Kelly. So, Command is a huge part of not only this conversation, but a part of making it easier for you rather than harder. Okay, so open houses. Now, we just went over this last week on the OP call. Remember, even though the state is finding that we're able to reopen, you do still need to be cautious and know that certain things are prohibited. So I believe that the video from the last OP conversation that we had is still on the Facebook group. Just make sure that you're informed and that you understand what the rules are around open houses. Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the last thing we talked about was maybe creating an open window of time that that prospective buyers can come in and actually set an appointment for, right?
Yeah, they were talking about open houses by appointment only. So you would be at the property, say between 2 and 4, but the buyers would have to pre-register and have a specific slotted appointment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So listen, open houses are an underutilized tool, I think. This is a powerful way for you to generate interest in a listing. And it is really a fabulous way for you to prospect and market yourself. So it's astounding how many people will come in and they have no real estate license. They don't have anyone helping them. They don't know anything about, looking up information. They're just finding some kind of, open house link or a link to their dream house, and they show up and they want to talk. So I think it's important that you're prepared at these open houses to, you want to know, like, your attention is going to be divided when other people are in and want to look around when we are able to get to that point again. And then there are some people that you're going to have to listen for clues and see who you want to talk to. For right now, it'll be easy because I think you're only going to be letting in one person or a couple in at a time. So who has done some really fabulous open houses and wants to share some success stories with us about it? Hello? This is a very quiet group, Lori Burns.
Sorry, I've still never done an open house, so I can't comment on that.
Okay, well, that's all right. This is an opportunity for you. Well, let me ask you that. All right, so maybe that's the case for a lot of you. So let me ask you, why is an open house such a great lead generation idea?
If you're getting people coming that are clearly interested in buying at some point in time.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you're attracting people who are in the market for buying a house, or at least we hope are getting ready to do so. Yeah, why else?
I mean,
Only
it's
one buyer can buy, but there's other people still looking.
Yeah, so it's definitely a lead generation opportunity, right? So you'll have the ability to get into conversations and hopefully relationships with people. You can only sell the house once, so the others that are there, if they've made a good connection with you, again, you don't want to wait for them to call you. You want to make that first move and get in touch with them right away and tell them it was great to meet you, and can I take you out to see anything else? Send them a couple of different listings that would fit their criteria and convert them to a client. So an open house is great for that reason. It's also, in terms of the business and the intelligence in running the business, it's a very cheap way to do things, because you can be at an open house for 2 hours, and if you play your cards right, you can talk to one of our vendors who would love to sponsor your open house. Maybe they'll bring you some refreshments even, not that that's mandatory, but if you can do an open house once a week and see anywhere from 2 to 15 people at an open house, you're using your time much wisely as well. That's going to be more time back to you, because if you had to meet with 7 or 8 different couples, I'm sure that would take you a couple of hours. So by just banging it out all at once at an open house and meeting people is certainly going to increase the number of people that you can contact. The other reason why we like open houses, you can leverage marketing material. You can bring information with you. You can create some kind of a value add for people visiting your open house, from market search data to information about the listing. Maybe the lender wants to put something in there. So it's definitely a smart way for you to lead generate. So in terms of prospecting, one of the things I love about Ignite is that it focuses on helping you with daily habits. And these are the habits that will really change your life and your business. And it's to every day add new contacts to your database. Number 2, add custom tags as you put people in, because that will help you identify and put people into groups, so that you will be able to do a mailing specific to people looking to buy versus looking to sell. So that's really important. And you'll need to have them in your database, because you need to nurture them or cultivate the leads, right? So just like someone plants, seeds in their garden, you don't just plant the seeds in the garden and then walk back 3-4 months later and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this big, beautiful, you know, sunflower. Look at this great big, you know, tomato patch. I'm making it up as I go along, but the bottom line is you have to do something to make it grow, right? So just like your garden needs you to attend to it and it needs water, fertilizer, sun, your database does too. So it's important to put people in your database that you meet so that you can send information to them, do drip campaigns, all of which you can do through command as a smart plan. And that is something that goes out to them periodically and provides value and information, which basically makes it very hard to forget you, right? So now when they do have a real estate need or they hear someone looking for real estate, they are going to call you because you're top of mind. So the takeaways so far is prospecting is an opportunity to meet new people. Marketing is an opportunity to communicate with those already met in your database. And that is what makes up lead generation, prospecting, and marketing. And it is crucial for you to have different prospecting and marketing activities on your calendar, from open houses to perhaps making phone calls to your database, mailings, whatnot. And part of that can be the strip campaign or smart plan, which you will design and put together. It could be videos, emails, it could be text messages. And that makes it so that you are top of mind and people can't forget that you're a realtor. So if you don't have all of the contacts in the database, you can't do any of that. And if they're not sorted or tagged, it's going to be very hard for you to understand who needs which message, right? So that is really why it's important to use the tools. Any questions on any of that? No? Okay, so let's go on. Sorry guys, we're going in the wrong direction. Oh no, we were not, that was right. Okay, so we talked about open houses, right? We talked about it's an important part of your lead gen plan. Here are some ways to stand out, and I thought this was really interesting. So they're suggesting some things that you can add to the open house plan or outline that you have, one of which is to have a guest speaker. So if you, now again, we have to be mindful that this was written before COVID, so we have to work within the parameters of the safety that we know we need to have and the social distancing. So you might have to get creative with this too. So if you are doing an open house for a couple hours and taking people in one at a time by appointment, you may not want to have a speaker in there, but you could have someone record a video. And it could be a lender, it could be a contractor, it could be a home stager, it could be someone talking about financing, and it could be where it's playing on the loop on your laptop. It could be where you email it out to anyone who comes to your open house. But I thought this was really creative and definitely a way to stand out. You could have some kind of a small offering. Lori, is it okay to have a raffle in New York at an open house?
Yeah, sure, you can do a raffle.
You could do a raffle, you could do, you know, some kind of a small gift, like, you know, even if it's just, and this is where you can get creative with partnering with local businesses too. So if there's a local baker who wants to, you know, bake something and wrap them up individually, and you can put your business card on it and hand it out when they, you know, come in or before they leave, you can do something like that. Certainly, it is so important for you to communicate with the seller, have a checklist, and make sure that the seller, don't take for granted the seller is going to know certain things. Make sure that you have a checklist and go through with the seller ways to prepare their home for this open house, things that they should know to put away, put up, out of sight, clean up, trim, you know, trim up outside, mow the grass, make sure in the winter walkways are clear, you know, things that we may take for granted and other people don't think about. So it's important you have a conversation and prepare your sellers, and also to talk with them about what your communication will be with them after the open house. Another thing that you could do is hold a live event. Maybe it's more virtual, And you could do this through your Facebook page, right? Hopefully you all have a business Facebook page. And you could stream parts of the open house live through your social media platform. And you could even host a virtual open house through that as well. So I think those are awesome ways that you can stand out and not be like every other agent. And I'm sure some of you might even have ideas I encourage you to try or to share as well. So with social media, so this is a unique opportunity, social media, because you actually have a platform where you can be prospecting based, which means that you're attracting, you know, new people to you and your real estate business, but you're also enhancing the conversation through marketing. So if you have your own Facebook page and you're building an audience there, you will be able to market to everyone who's there while you're prospecting for new opportunities. So social media has become crucial. I mean, I can't even say it's important. It's crucial as a lead generation strategy. And if you're not engaged in social media, you might be really missing out on a big part of the conversation and a big section of the audience that's out there. So when it's used correctly, social media allows you to really instantaneously connect with potential clients, and it helps you to build relationships because we're on social media all the time, right? So you all know this to be true. There are people that you're connected with on Instagram or Facebook, and you're following them and you're even talking to them on a regular basis, yet you can't remember the last time you ever saw them in person. But the relationship that you have with that person is just as real as someone that you see, you know, all the time. So it's important not to discount the power that social media can provide you. It's faster, so it leverages your time. And again, you know, it gives you the ability to nurture and build a long-term relationship. Now, a couple of tips with social media to make this work for you is this requires a strategy. This is its own little marketing strategy. So which social media platforms will you get on? What is the vibe that you want to create there? What content are you going to share? What content are you going to create? Who is your target audience? How will you track them? And then, you know, do you create more branding for yourself online that way, which is important? And also, you need to consider the time it takes, right? So the good news is that with a business page, you can schedule posts, and I do that. So sometimes I'll schedule a couple of days worth of posts, and it doesn't take very long, you know, especially if you have an idea of what you want to post, 10, 15 minutes, and you can be done, and you'll have content, you know, ready and lined up to be pushed out for a couple days. Any questions on this? Another thing I'll say real quick before questions that's worth mentioning about social media is the power to advertise now. You know, especially through Facebook, you can, you know, target a specific audience. You can target a specific geographic area. So it makes it very easy for you to get really clear on where you want your farming to be. And, you know, you can then put in other criteria. It could be a very local audience. It could be, you know, something that you create an ad around a particular listing. You could create an ad around promoting yourself as an agent. So that's another really positive part of social media is the power to do those paid ads. And they're inexpensive, the ads. They're really not going to break the bank, I promise. All right, any questions on that? Okay. All right, so again, we're talking about time here. So whether we're talking about social media or anything else, it seems like we can't do a class without talking about the 80-20 principle. So what is the 80-20 principle? Basically, it's knowing that there is this predictable imbalance to things in life, that not everything we do requires equal amounts of time or priority. And so this model helps us understand and identify what should be in our 20%. And it's this 20% of our activities, right, or 20% of our business that will yield 80% of the results that we're looking for. So back to the database conversation, probably there's about 20% of the people in your database that are what you would call your top grade. They're always going to refer business to you because you're their realtor and they love you and trust you and they want to refer you. So being able to build a relationship and cultivate, nurture that along with everyone else, but maybe nurture the people in your top grade a little bit more, should produce those results that you're looking for. So there are fewer things you can spend your time on that bring you bigger results. And that is counterintuitive, and I get that, but really this is a small list. So anyone have any questions so far on the 80-20 principle? We talk about this all the time, Lori, don't we, in our staff meetings?
All the time, every day.
All the time, every day. They're tired of me asking them, what's in your 20% today?
But it's a hard concept in the beginning. It's difficult to get a hold of, but when you really start figuring out the difference between your big rocks and your task-oriented things, that the 80-20 approach is really powerful and helps you stay very focused.
Yeah, because it's really what's going to bring you all those results. So thank you for that, Lori. So can I go on? Any questions?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay. So now that you understand where your 20% activities lie, or that may be something that you have to work on, right? So what are those activities that should be in your 20%? Lead generation is one of them. And that's something that, if it's going to be a 20% activity, would need to happen daily in order for you to produce big results. So as we talked about some different prospecting methods, one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do, after this as homework, is to really expand on that. So the homework would be to come up with a list of all the lead generation activities that you want to participate in to grow your business. And just make sure that the lead generation activities are balanced between the prospecting and the marketing. You don't want to be too heavy on one side than the other. And come up with different ways that you can really generate leads, okay? And once you understand how to use a variety of prospecting methods, then now it's time to get purposeful about the lead generation activities that you choose to do. So let's see, I'm going to read something to you. Based on a recent survey, our KW research team conducted, the top lead generation sources for millionaire real estate agents were. So if you're looking to get an idea of what these categories might look like, here is an example. So some of the top lead generation sources by these KW agents, mega agents, were number one, referrals. And when you say referrals, I mean, there's multiple places you can generate a referral business from. The second one is sphere of influence, right? Those are the people in your database, and they are there because they probably know and trust you well enough. And so they're going to want to pass referrals. And then sphere of influence, right? Who can also generate business for you. And sphere of influence, meaning that they're probably in a business that allows them to be in touch with a lot of people, or they're in some kind of parallel business to real estate, and they're just finding that they can have this conversation often, and they're generating, real estate leads for you in your business. So it's important to identify those. Certainly repeat business. There's nothing more frustrating than thinking that you were nothing but a transaction to someone. So I'm sure you've all had the experience of buying a new car at least once in your life. When was the last time you heard from that dealer? Exactly. When was the last time any salesperson just called to stay in touch with you? Now, don't let that make you think, well, that's the norm and me doing this is going to be weird. No, I think people are really excited when you can call and connect with them and offer them some value. So making sure that you follow up on you know, people who have bought homes from you before, people that you've showed and helped purchase homes before. It's important to really, I think, you know, build that referral relationship with that center of influence. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's go on to this next slide. Okay, so here is another visual for you that may help some of you prioritize your lead generation efforts. And this is, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find my notes. Here we go. Okay, so this is going to be on page 13 in your participant guide if you're following along. So it's easier to master and scale 1 or 2 lead generation methods in your business rather than trying to do 12 to 14 different things. So while we talked about having a few plates spinning in the air, I think it's also important though to know that too many plates you can't really juggle and they start to crash and break on the floor. So what are the areas you want to master? So what we're going to do is take a quick, I don't know, it's almost 10 up. So let's come back here at like 2:57, right before 3 o'clock. So if you want to stretch your legs, grab coffee, whatever. And when you come back, I want you to take a look at this, or before you actually get up, and I want you to take note or write down the activities and efforts that you really want to put into your real estate business. So you can make your own personal list from some of these thoughts and ideas. And then when we come back from the break, we'll talk more about it. So we'll see you back here around 2:57. Okay, if you're just joining us, we're just taking a quick break and then we're going to pick up again. And I will be back with you in about 2 or 3 minutes. All right, everybody, I'm going to get started. Before I turn on the recording again, just in case any of you have gotten a weird text message from me, it is not me. I've gotten several calls and texts while teaching about some strange text message that went out. So apparently I've been hacked. Fun, fun. All right, are we ready to get going? Lori, are you back with me?
I'm here.
Okay, great. So Lori, would you hit start on the recording for me?
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, so this is a list of different ideas for you to think about your lead generation efforts and to prioritize as well. So can someone come off mute and share with me what some of the activities are that you would like to engage in or maybe already are engaging in?
There was a question about the 19 Connect newsletter, Anna. Could you explain the 19 Connect newsletter and client parties?
Okay, so the 19 Connect newsletter, I'm not really familiar with that specifically. That is a question I'm going to have to get an answer to for you, honestly. That is one I have not heard of before. So client parties is just what it sounds like. It is a party, a gathering, which of course, again, these are things that, you know, are tried and true, but is pre-COVID. So you have to probably put something like that on hold, unless you want to do a virtual, you could try that as well. But basically, it's a lot of agents will do a client party maybe at the holiday time or a barbecue or rent out a movie theater. Something that you can do to really just bring people together and have some fun. And of course, whenever someone does anything like that, you know, it creates a good feeling and a connection. And at the end of the day, this is how you build relationships. So that's what a client party is. So you just have to get creative right now about what that looks like. Now, before I hear about any of your other lead generation efforts here, the numbers in parentheses are the number of times or months that you do that within a year's time, or within a week's time. You decide the frequency. And the other thing that you have to be prepared for is realize that while there are a lot of no cost and low cost lead generation activities, and as someone who's just starting their business, it's really fine. It's great to put a lot of those opportunities on your calendar or in your plan. Some of these do require some funding, so you will have to have a marketing budget and or look for vendors to partner with you and maybe sponsor some of these activities as well, right? Because if you form a relationship with a lender or some other vendor, and you know they're helping you grow their business, certainly the payoff for them would be that you refer that buyer to them, or the seller to them if it was an attorney or whatever. So hopefully if you grow your business, it will grow theirs too. Other questions or comments about the lead gen? So as you take a look at this, I think some questions to ask yourself are, which lead generation activities will drive you to success, right? Which one of these and other lead generation activities that you can consider will have a bigger impact, because it will allow you to get in front of more people. It will allow you to generate more conversations, right? So which of these activities are smarter for you to put into your plan? And the consistency is super important, and the frequency as well, right? So you can't door knock one time, or post on social media once a month and expect to see a lot of results. So it's really important that you understand that this is something you have to be committed to. And while there are a lot here, there is something to be said for choosing like your top 5, right? And putting all your energy into those top 5. Anything else before I move on? Okay. So I'm on page 14 in the participant guide, and this is an activity that I would like to spend a little time on. And this is where you get to start to put all this together and develop your own prospecting plan. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to the next page, and I'm going to ask you to kind of think about some things we've talked about, and I'm going to ask you to review, what you can put into your own prospecting plan. So going back to this slide, I would like for you to work independently and just choose 3 right now. Choose 3 prospecting methods that you would be interested in putting your time into for lead generation. And I want you to really think about what could that look like. So in other words, if you're going to choose social media, what does that look like? Which social media platform or platforms do you want to have a presence on? Are you going to have a business page, and what kind of content are you showing or sharing? What is the frequency in which you want to post? What types of things do you want to post? If you want to, think about building a business around calling FSBOs and expireds, do you need scripts? Do you need training? How often will you make those calls? So I want to give you a couple minutes to really work on this. So right now it is 3 o'clock, I believe, right? 3:01. So I'm going to give you until 3:12 just to sit with this and kind of do some brainstorming. And then I'll come back on and we can talk it out. And I would really love your participation. So I will be back with you in about 10 minutes. So give yourself the gift of time and really put some thought into this. What are the top 3 activities you want to focus on? What does it look like for you? How will you really break down the method and the frequency? And what kind of results do you expect to get from that? Okay, so I'll see you in about 10 minutes. tell me a lead generation activity that you're going to incorporate into your lead gen plan?
Being that I'm new, I don't have any listings or anything like that yet. However, I've been reaching out to a couple different agents that have listings and getting their approval and sharing them through my Facebook page through command.
Okay.
So I want to continue to build on that to, continue lead generation past just, how limited I am with my Facebook and everything like that, because I did Bold as well, and they said a lot of people that has, they've been established for a while, they got a lot of their first leads through for sale by owners, which is not, possible right at this moment for me.
Right.
So I'm trying to do as much as I can with that aspect. Instagram, I'm going to stay away from for the time being and just focus most of my attention on my Facebook business page. That's my biggest plan for it.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Candace. Who else has something that they decided to add to their lead gen plan, or maybe they already are and it's working well?
Well, I agree with Candace, especially as a new agent. I really want to focus on social media as well, especially Facebook. And I actually do have a question for you. So as a new agent, I am closing on a condo next month, so I'm very excited about that. But what is some, thank you, but what are some other things that I can post on my business page? So, I am working with buyers, but how can I make that active? I don't know if my question is making sense, but what are some other things that I can do on my business page? Because right now I'm currently not listing anything. I really am just closing on this one property. So I just wanted to ask you, what are some other things that I could be doing on my Facebook page to make me successful?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Okay, so first, it's important that you all build an audience. So, because you can take some time to create great content, and you want that great content to create an impact on more than just a few people. So building your audience is another big part of your social media strategy. So if you have 100 people who've liked your page, get to 200, then 300, and so on. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. And then as far as content goes, anything that you think would be of value to your audience. So it's really not about constantly showing up as I sold this or I'm helping someone buy that. When you do share that you had a closing, it's really got to be more about the buyer, right? So you're so excited that you helped your client find their new dream home. Or if you were on the list side, you're really excited that you're helping your clients achieve their goal, because there's always a reason why someone wants to buy or sell. So you create a story around the client, not just, hey, look at me, I'm an agent who sold something. So that is one thing to keep in mind. And then as far as other content, you could share articles from different sources that have to do with home ownership, even peppering in like gardening or home improvement. It could be information about the market. It could be something that right now, because of everyone kind of going through the same thing, things to do with your family over the summer, because vacations are going to look different and some beaches look different and all that. So something of value that still connects people, still connects them to you and you back to being a realtor. So the best way to figure that out is sometimes to watch what other people share and do. And not that you're going to, just copy their posts, but you're going to get an idea of the kind of energy and flavor they're creating from their page. So hopefully that helps. But do some research on how to become a better social media marketer, because, that's the thing. As a realtor, you have to develop other skill sets too, not just helping people with real estate purchases. You have to get good at other things, and being a social media marketer is going to be one of them.
Hey, Anna.
Okay, Lori, any other questions or comments?
Karen Ray. Fun things to do in the community are great too, I'm told. I plan to add that content to my Facebook feed.
Great. Yeah, Absolutely. Especially if you want to become known as the realtor in that area, then creating a connection to that area by sharing things happening in the community is a really smart way to do that. Good. All right. So hopefully you got a jump start on this. This is something that you want to spend more time working on. And I trust a lot of you, if not most of you, are in coaching. So this would be something to talk out with your coach too. Okay, so let's move into, let's talk about habits. That's the next thing that I want to move into. And that is really the key to being successful in business and really in anything, is having the right habits. And, you know, habits are the things that we do without thinking about it. So right now, you know, we have habits in our lives. The question is whether they are empowering us or holding us back. So what are some of the powerful habits to create in real estate? Well, this slide is really depicting that. And what we want you to do is get focused on really these daily habits that start with, again, how many contacts are you adding to your database? So if you could add 10 contacts a day to your database, and don't start thinking it's impossible or letting that little drunk monkey talk you out of it. It is possible, depending on, you know, where you go and what you spend your time doing. Because if you're engaged on social media and you're out in the community and you are doing some of the other lead generation activities, you probably can generate 10 contacts very easily. And if you're committed to adding 10 people to your database every day, then that will keep you from sitting at home all the time either, because you're going to want to get out and meet people. So adding 10 contacts a day to your database, and then having 10 conversations a day about real estate. What would your business look like if you could add 300 names to your database in a month's time? And if you were getting into conversations with 10 people a day around real estate and the market, do you think that you would generate a lead? Do you think out of those 10 conversations you might get a referral? If you had, you know, 300 more names in your database in a month's time, do you think that would generate more opportunity for you? So hopefully you're all saying yes. And that's why it's such a powerful daily habit. So this class is called Ignite. This is about really lighting it up. This is not about wading in and taking it slow. This is about lighting your business up on fire. So I would say, you know, make sure you check in on your motivation level. So the other thing that we suggest that you do is get in the habit of writing 10 notes a day. And this can be very powerful because I don't think we get very many handwritten notes anymore. You know, right, wrong, or indifferent. I went to a wedding a couple months ago, and I got her thank you card in the mail. And it was just a printed postcard with the generic phrase and their name and picture on it. There was not anything handwritten on it. And I was like, oh, it's a beautiful picture, but I was a little disappointed, right? So people enjoy seeing those handwritten notes. And if you carry them with you and you always have a stock of stationery so that you make it easy for yourself to do it, I know that you could find 10 people every day to just send a note to with your card. Maybe it's a note to follow up on a conversation. Maybe it's just sending a note to someone in your database saying, hey, I was thinking about you. Again, don't make it, please, I need you to sell something with me, but, you know, make it an offering and say, here I am, I want to help you. So the notes are powerful. And then previewing 10 homes is also really important. You have to know your market. You have to learn and understand the nuances of the market right now, where pricing is trending. You want to look at days on market. You want to look at, you know, how are other agents marketing themselves and their listings? What could you do differently, better? You know, and knowing that when you get into conversations with people, you have some information. So how do you preview 10 homes? Well, you can start with looking online, right? The hot sheet comes out and you see what all the new listings are. You can preview the listings online in our own office, right? You can do that by office. If you have an opportunity to watch some virtual tours on Facebook or other social media platforms. And then as things start to open up more, we start to, you know, connect or congregate more, at some point in the future, you'll be able to preview the home in person. We'll get back to doing maybe some broker open soon. So there are a lot of ways that you can preview homes. And if you were to focus on these 4 activities every day in your business, if you just made this your game plan, you would never struggle. You would never struggle in this business. So what are your thoughts or comments on this, or any questions that you might have? Who's going to try this?
I am.
Good.
I'm going to try as much as possible. My usual full-time job is starting back up, and I'm going to have to be working from home for that. So it's going to be a little less time I have to put towards it, but I'm going to put as much time towards as I can.
Okay, and you know, I appreciate you sharing that. I think it's important everyone realizes that, you know, real estate requires work, and it requires time in it. And so whatever that time is, you just have to get clear. So I would say know what your hours are at your full-time job, and then know what your hours are for your real estate business, and create a schedule around that. So if it's 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day that you can work your real estate business, what is the schedule within that time? And you know, because all activities will fit to the time allowed. So you can pack in a lot of these. And for someone like, I think it was Candace that said that, who is working another job, it's even more important for you to identify the most dollar producing activities to put your time into, because you just you have no time to waste, right? So that's going to be important. All right, so let's talk about another habit that is super important to your success in this business, and that is the habit of script practice and using scripts in your business. So memorizing and internalizing scripts is going to give you an advantage over a lot of other agents, even agents who have been doing this, you know, 3 and 4 times longer than you have, or more. So learning scripts is important because it's going to allow you to really stay on track. It's going to allow your business to grow. And, you know, think about this, right? Every major profession, from sports athletes to even a doctor, there's a lot of practice time. You have a lot of opportunity here because, first of all, we're all kind of on a script, right? The question is, if your script, your internal dialogue that you just kind of, you know, default into, is it effective enough? Is it concise enough? Is it compelling enough? Because that is what a script will provide you. It will provide you with the right words to say, put together in a clean little package. It will have some psychology built into it, so it will solicit a response, and it will help you to overcome objections as well. So script practice is huge. And when you are controlling the conversation, which scripts allows you to do, then you will be able to control the outcome. So either you take the time now to practice scripts and make this a part of your daily life, or you run the risk of getting out-scripted by your client. So top producers use scripts. I've used scripts, and it's super important, right? So one of the fastest ways to get to the bottom line with your client is to understand their needs. And if you don't ask enough of the right questions, you won't understand their needs. So there's a script for that, right? So it's going to give you an opportunity or allow you to answer questions in a way that it will give you the information in a very clear package to be able to help the client move forward. And by doing that, you're the hero. So if you're not currently using scripts, I believe you'll be able to download scripts from this Ignite material. And I cannot stress enough the importance of practicing. Now, a couple quick things. If you're going to practice and read your script to yourself and not use a partner, it is important that you read it out loud. You need to hear yourself say the script for the first time so that you can get out of that awkward, weird feeling quickly, right? Because we all have had that, right? When you hear our own voice, we're like, ugh. And you want to use that opportunity to, you know, lower and raise your voice when necessary, to create inflection, you know, recognize how many times you say the word as I just did. So the scripts are huge, and practicing it is really important. And if you don't have a script partner that you can practice out loud with, I recommend reading it out loud to yourself. And you do need to do it out loud. Any questions on scripts?
Yeah, Merrill wants to know, where can I find a great script for expired listings or FSBOs?
So I know that there was, I believe still is in this Ignite section, when you go back onto KW Connect, I believe there's a script book that you can download, and there should be some in there. I don't know if Bold did that this time around, but a lot of times Bold will have scripts for that. Because see, right now we're not calling FSBOs and expireds. I guess I need to remind you of that too. We can't do that until September unless something changes. So they may not have included that in this round of Bold. And that's due to the COVID pandemic. We're just trying to be sensitive to people right now and kind of provide service before sales. Any other questions around scripts?
No, but Merrill just really made a good point that she said she would check it out, because right now she can at least practice, even if she can't make the calls,
For
which
sure.
is a great idea. And then she'll be ready to roll when we are allowed to start doing it again.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, again, on that, role playing, like, again, we're supposed to give you about 30 minutes to do that here in class. I'm not going to do that right now. But here is, you know, again, your homework assignment. Find a script partner. Whether they're on this call or not, find someone that you can role play with. Take turns where one is the homeowner, the client, and the other is the agent. And so Lori, maybe you can just talk about this for a second. As a leadership team, we have our own scripts that we practice, right?
Yeah.
And that's around working with you and understanding your needs. So the members of our staff have paired off and done that practice together too. It does make it much more real. And the other thing that you have to think about or know is that our subconscious mind is really always ready to provide us with support and service. So whatever you're feeding it, whatever it's hearing, seeing, it just takes it in as reality. So the more that you practice that script, the faster you're going to be able to just roll out with it when you're in a real situation. So find a script partner, and you can find one online too. This ties back to a question that was asked in the first hour about how do I connect with more Keller Williams agents, and something I didn't think to mention then would be to connect with Keller Williams agents in some of the groups on Facebook. There's a group for Bold. There's a Shift group, right? So there's a lot of there's a referral network. There are a lot of closed and private groups on Facebook that are that have been started by and are full of Keller Williams agents. So that's a good place for you to network, but also you can throw something in there and just say, hey, I'm looking for a script partner. And the way that this should work is if you can work it out where you're doing your role play every day, you're just going to get to mastery that much faster. And it doesn't take a lot of time. That's the other thing. If you're going to role play and both of you take turns on the same day, I would say you probably need to carve out 15 minutes, maybe 20 tops. If you're just, you know, practicing the script back and forth without giving objections and kind of like pretending you're the client, because you could do that to start too, just read the script back and forth to each other. Probably 10, 15 minutes tops and you would be doing great. So script practice doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it can certainly create huge results for you.
We have a couple things in the chat.
Yep.
Amanda Brem has her number in the chat and said she would be happy to be a script partner for someone. So hit her.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Amanda.
So what do you do when you find you're more motivated than your partner?
Find a new partner.
Mm.
Don't waste time, okay? Because, you know, while we do have a lot of ability to encourage and support each other, if you want to dig in once and say, hey, what's going on? I thought we were really excited to do this, and I'm finding your motivation's not where it once was, and you can turn it around, great. But don't give it any more effort than that. If they're not interested, find another script partner, because you really, this is your business and this is your life, and you need to do whatever it takes to grow it. So don't let someone else pull you back.
You can have more than one partner too. You don't need to just have one. So
absolutely.
So Sherry Coyle, in phase 2, we can make cold calls correct, but cannot call FSBO or expired. I don't believe any of that's opened up yet, but I'll check on that for you, Sherry. And, I don't believe, I think some of that is staying, you know, with the long executive order in terms of reaching out and contacting people in public.
Yeah, I agree. So similarly along those lines, you know, in any time, not just during COVID, there's always a list of people we should not call, right? So we do have, if you're not aware, there is a do not call registry, and you need to be aware of that. That is on you. And we do have, if you reach out to your staff in your market center, Eileen in New City, Erin, Corinne, we can provide you with the do not call information list, the information on the list. So it is also available on different websites, but the key is you need to know who you're calling before you call, because if you do call someone on the do not call list, you can be in some trouble, right, Lori? Is there a fine?
Yeah, there are really steep fines for calling. If someone makes a complaint about you, you'll be sanctioned and fined. I don't know exactly how much, but it's high. We're talking about like $10,000, not $2,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's not worth it. Yeah. So make sure, and honestly, this is why we promote building a database and calling your own sphere. Because if you're calling people that know you and that you know, then you don't have to worry about this so much. But you should subscribe to the registry so that you have the information, and you should scrub your list, which means that you're updating and removing people who are on the do not call list. And yeah, does it take a little time and effort? It does, yet as you heard from Lori Burns, it's not worth it to call someone who is on the do not call list and then they decide to, you know, make you the example. All right. It's also important that we honor whatever their requests are. So if someone wants to be removed from your database, you need to follow through and do that. I would think that's pretty cut and dry. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Okay. One other thing I'm going to mention about scripts. So if you do role play with someone else, you can, if you're going to pretend to be the homeowner, you can, you know, make it a little challenging for the agent. And the reason you do that is so that they can really practice overcoming objections. But we don't torture anyone. And the big rule of thumb in role play is you always give them the appointment. We want them to experience that feeling of getting the appointment because that will anchor for them as well. So if you want to, you know, give a couple of objections, one or two, to see how they handle that and persevere to getting the appointment, give them something to celebrate with because you can't just say no all the time.
The bold rule around that is 3 objections and then the appointment.
Oh, 3? Okay, that's good. In my experience, I always used to say 2. So 3, there you go. So, and that's good. You know, that gives you an opportunity to really get back and forth with that. That's a good amount of objection handling. All right. So, any questions about scripts, role playing, or partnering? Okay, so that is something that I would definitely encourage you to do. and we're going to just move forward. I just want to make sure that everyone knows in Connect, which is more than likely where you went in to get the Ignite material, there's so much information in here available to you about anything that you could possibly imagine, and as it relates to your business. So you will find information like articles and curriculum in Keller Williams University. There's a chat for support. You can post ideas at ideas.com.kw, ideas.kw.com. There's just a lot of ways that you can connect and a lot of ways that you can get information, in your business. Make sure you're checking out the website, the training classes on our Market Center website for kwhbgrouptraining.com so that you can participate in any of the tech classes too. This page represents a success list outline. And I'm just going to go over this quickly. This would be something else I would really encourage you to do. And what you do is you start kind of with a mind dump, right? Get all the things out of your head that you think need accomplishment, and you would put them over here in the task section. And then you would be able to go through the whole list once you're done writing, and you would be able to kind of assess where you're at. So the first thing I would do is I have a task here. I'm going to ask myself, should I really do this? And if the answer is yes, just put an X in the box. And is there something I need to do? Yes, put an X in the box. And then you can also write out here in the margin what it is that you might need to do. But then the other thing that's powerful is assigning it a priority number, right? So is this the highest priority, which in my way of ranking things, I would make a 1. So I'm just thinking numerically, 1 comes first. Or is this something that's not super important to anything right at the moment? I can make that a 7 or an 8. So this is just a little tracking form to help you sort out your mind dump. Any questions on that? Okay. That's going to wrap up the session for today. I know we finished a little bit early. So I'm just curious if I could hear a couple of ahas or what you think you're going to work on as a result of this particular session. So I appreciate your feedback. If you want to come off mute, and if you want to come on camera too, that would be great. What was your takeaway today?
I thought the lead generation, the 1 through 5, was really helpful.
Okay.
Into order to see like what should be priority.
Good. What did you determine as a priority for you?
I put social media, cost to sphere, FSBOs, door knocking, and then sign calls.
Okay. Good. Who else has something they want to share?
I think it's great using the scripts. That's definitely something that I need to download, and I think I need to make sure that's part of my schedule and be consistent with it. So I'm really happy that you brought that up as well.
Awesome. Good. Good. Anyone else?
I'm going to work on doing more handwritten notes and things like that. It's something that I've been talking to my coach about. It's really a good way to send out business cards as well. You can include it with the handwritten notes, especially with, not being able to do much besides virtual. It's a nice way to reach out otherwise.
Yeah, that's great. And so the only thing I would say, Candace, is figure out when and how you're going to do it, right? Rather than just saying, okay, it's something I'm planning on doing. When will you do it? Get it out there so it'll start working for you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Good. So I see Karen says that she took away from this the importance of your database, tag, cultivate, and to use smart plans. Great. Okay. Well, Lori, is there anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, well, listen, everyone, you have about 20 minutes before you thought we would end. I would like to encourage you to reinvest it back into your business and sit down with some of your notes. And if you have the handout from this session, and figure out what your next steps will be. Figure out your lead generation plan. Do your Wheel of Life exercise. Oh, I didn't tell you about the Wheel of Life. I meant to do that. So we have a tool called the Wheel of Life. I put it on my business page. I will share that on OP Updates as well. That just helps you prioritize where you might want to put some energy into different parts of your life. But the reason why I said that is because we talked about your lead generation plan, right? And a lot of times what I do is I have agents draw that in a circle and just kind of slice it up like a pizza. So forgive me, my brain kind of jumped into the other mode there. But when we talked about your lead generation plan and what activities you want to focus on, just think of it visually. Sometimes it's helpful too, right? Divide it up like as if your lead generation plan was a big pizza. How do you slice it up? What are the different slices that, you know, represent different activities you want to do in your lead gen plan? So I'm sorry, I kind of dazed on that one for a minute, but hopefully that made sense. So if there's anything we can do to support you, you know, please reach out to anyone on your Market Center leadership team. Thank you for being here. Oh, sorry, that was something else coming. There was a message in the chat. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you grow your business. So have a great afternoon, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Welcome.
Bye, thank you.
You're welcome.